We will go ahead and get started. Again, my name is Chris Hinks, Client Engagement Director here at Spatial Integrated Systems. I am now going to pass the baton over to my colleague and friend, Cecil Pruitt, Senior Applications Engineer with Spatial Integrated Systems. Here we go.
Once again, thank you all for attending our latest presentation on Siemens value-based licensing. My name is Cecil Pruitt, and I'm the Senior Applications Engineer here at Spatial Integrated Systems. I've been serving our customer base across the entire USA now for 20 years with the Siemens product sets. And today, we're presenting a detailed and down-to-earth overview of value-based licenses, or tokens, if you want to call them that. So here's a quick slide for our agenda of what we're going to cover today. Topic number 1, please explain value-based licensing again. We keep getting new customers and everybody keeps asking about value-based licensing. It's changed over the years and it keeps growing. So we're going to explain it again. Topic number 2, is value-based licensing made for a specific size company? I think the answer will surprise you. Topic number 3, what Siemens products use value-based licensing? It keeps growing. Topic number 4, frequently asked questions. Let's review some of the questions that the majority of people that both use or are attempting to use value-based licensing are asking. And number 5, who can help you get started using value-based licensing? Value-based licensing. Explain it to me again. Value-based licensing is the smartest and most affordable way to get access to the software add-ons that you need when you need them. With that said, how can I make such a brash claim? Value-based licensing allows a company to use software both regularly or rarely as your need requires. It allows a company to avoid costly investment of software that you may only use once or twice a month. It also allows for frequent use of software across groups in a manner of quick use and release. Not only that, but it also allows you extreme access to software that you really wish you had a license for, but you couldn't previously afford. You know, trying to get a solution approval from management for an immediate need can sometimes be near impossible, but with value-based licensing, you can use that desired solution and then move on to your next project. Value-based licensing is the ultimate solution for accessing software that you need right now, but you don't necessarily need it on a regular basis. It does allow your company to satiate or devour the need of access to a broad spectrum of Siemens software solutions instantly without the need to purchase yet one more solution package. Value-based licensing eliminates the engineering downtime waiting on a solution approval and allows the available solutions to be used and reused throughout your entire engineering work group on a daily basis. So let's explain tokens in more simple terms. You need a lot of tools to do great engineering. Maybe you don't have the ability to own all those tools. And let's face it, we all get frustrated when we can't get the tools that we need to accomplish greatness. Thus, tokens. Let's say your company purchases a pool of tokens to be used in your work group. Maybe it's 50, maybe it's 100, maybe it's 150. Each desired add-on has a token value. Piping has a value. MBD has a value. Well, let's put it in a situation. You might be doing piping for an hour, MBD for 2 hours, generative design for another hour, and basic simulation for an hour. Heck, you might even do some manufacturing for 3 hours. Investing in all that software can be a challenge. Using tokens When an application that has a value is used, that token pool total gets reduced. When the application is finished and released, those tokens are then returned for use elsewhere or for other people to use them. Value-based licensing really expands your engineer's potential for productivity. It really does mean that once you've invested in your base products, you can have a near unlimited number of add-on features at your disposal. Engineering roadblocks to greatness are eliminated, and you can be the multi-talented engineer that you knew that you could be. So maybe you're looking seriously into tokens. The consumption method of software is currently changing, if it's not already changed for you. In the past, most people had perpetual licenses. You could only use what you owned. Now, subscription-based licensing is dominant. Subscription gives you the ability to change your licensing needs more frequently without losing investment. But having a subscription to everything just is not realistic. Maybe you might be thinking, you know, my company's too small for tokens. Or maybe you might hear someone say, a medium-sized business is just too busy trying to get to the next level of success. Or lastly, you might even hear, our company's just too large for such a dynamic solution. It seems so complex. Well, I'm here to tell you that the reality is tokens can benefit your company at all three levels of size. The concept is that value-based licensing is just the right tool to increase your potential, increase your efficiency, and maintain the reliable access to the software that you need right now when you need it. I mean, come on, for small companies, smaller and newer companies benefit because multi-talented engineers can employ their full spectrum of skills without being limited by unaffordable software investments. You know that you have those engineers that can do so much but are limited because they don't have the software that they need. If we move over to a medium-based company, medium-based companies, they struggle to solve the engineering problems that will ultimately grow their company to the next level. And waiting to invest in new software only slows them down even more. Large companies know value-based licensing is crucial to keep engineering departments lean and nimble while able to handle engineering needs as they arise. It also makes software management far, far easier by allowing the need to drive the usage without reinvesting. If you previously experienced value-based licensing, well, get ready. The solution is evolving. In the past, it was only NX software. That was the only way that you could get tokens. The people raised their engineering voices and said, give us tokens. And now the horizon has expanded. In 2025, Siemens now sports a wide and rich menu of software solution choices. Solid Edge now offers it in their SAS and in their Solid Edge X family. Of course, we know about NX, but now NXX and now NX manufacturing and NXX manufacturing, both additive and subtractive. Even SimCenter now has value-based licensing. The lists of add-on features both in manufacturing and in simulation are extensive, and understandably so. How many times have you started in one direction while you were in CAM, but found out that you had to switch trains in order to better manufacture that part? The same goes for simulation, starting and studying in one area, but finishing the analysis in a direction that you never thought you would have to go. If you had to go back to your boss to keep asking for more investment, well, that can get awkward. Just envision being able to work on your base product and do things like import a CATIA v5 file. You only do that a few times. Release those tokens and then decide that you need to use point cloud visualization. Finish that. Release those tokens. Then you figure out, hey, I need to do some PMI inside my MBD module. Do that and release those tokens. And then finally, you need to analyze. So you need to use simulation. Choose your path within simulation, analyze, release those tokens, and then finally finish up maybe doing some stuff like generative design. Can you imagine doing all that and even more without purchasing extra software? The only limit is your expertise. So the topic of value-based licensing wasn't complex. It's a short topic. It's important. It is the future. Um, and I think that everyone here needs to understand the facts. So with that said, there are some very frequently asked questions. Um, the frequently asked questions can be a little bit predictable because people are smart and they ask the same questions over and over again. Let's review some of those most common ones. And after we're done with these, if you have questions later, we can hit those too. So first one's up. Can you mix and match tokens between Solid Edge and NX and SimCenter 3D? Well, this is what I can legally say. Not quite yet. And we'll leave that answer as it is. Can you manage your value-based licensing tokens? Managing tokens, you hear people talk about that, but we don't really use a management application. The tools are actually already there. You can manage the usage of tokens through an options text file within your FlexOM licensing application. You can also view and monitor the tokens usages within the FlexOM log files at any point in time using LM tools. And there are common public batch files that are already out there that you can run and are effective tools for monitoring uh, tokens through multiple applications. Let's say you've got tokens for manufacturing, you've got tokens for NX design, you've got tokens for Solid Edge, and you've got tokens for SimCenter 3D. Well, that's a lot of tokens investment, but there are batch files to actually run quick reports on those. But keep this in mind. When you finish using a token-based feature, those tokens are returned to the pool. It prevents issues like engineers forgetting to exit a floating license and leaving it sitting there on their screen and locking other engineers out. So the problem is not the same. There are two different animals, and well, this animal's more efficient. Is the core product subtracted from your token pool? Nope, it is not. The core products are purchased separately, and value-based licensing is for add-on products, modules, and features. That's what it's made for. It's made to give you access to things that you don't want to invest in over your basic package. Can tokens be borrowed like a floating license? No, they cannot. If you do own floating features as well as your base product and you have a token pool, well, guess what? It does work alongside tokens. So tokens can exist both with floating features. And it can also work along with subscriptions. Short-term subscriptions can also coexist with tokens, um, just in case you need that extra mobility. Do tokens come in varied size packages? Yes, they do. Now, the base package will determine the token value of your individual add-ons. So I know that SimCenter 3D, they have a little bit higher token value assigned to each of their features, whereas Solid Edge, I see the token values are quite smaller than say the NX token values. But nonetheless, they do come in various different package sizes. Please talk to us and we'll explain those to you and we'll explain the offerings. Last slide. Who can help me get started with value-based licensing? Golly gee, wonder who. That's easy. We can. We at Spatial Integrated Systems are always excited about the expansion of the use of value-based licensing. We recognize that through selling new seats of software and add-on packages, even though it may be profitable, we know that keeping your engineering department equipped and ready to meet all engineering design challenges will ultimately make you a happier customer. And in the end, it benefits us when you're at your best. So let us help you realize and right-size your token size purchases. We'll meet with you separately and discuss where your needs are. You don't want to have too much tokens. You definitely don't want to have too little. With that said, I think that's the end of this presentation. So I guess back to you guys.
Thanks, Cecil. Appreciate it. Really good insight. And actually, questions are starting to pour in, which is good, which means you have people thinking, Cecil, which is a good thing. I'm going to go over a few more things. Some of it is going to be repeat. But again, we do want to make sure that we're giving you the holistic perspective and allowing you the ability to better understand how the tokens could potentially impact your business from a cost-effective and flexibility standpoint. Let me bring this up. As soon as it loads, there we go. All right. And then again, a couple quick things if some folks did join after we started the presentation is this is being recorded. We will send the recording to you. There is a handout. If it's not accessible, we'll make sure to get you that handout in regards to some, it's a really good PDF overview of the different modules specific to NX of what's attainable and accessible to you from a token standpoint. So real quick, let's talk further and I'm piggybacking off of what Cecil did, but let's talk further about the depth of tokens. So I know he hit on this earlier, but NX is the one that started this, right? So tokens has been around for a couple of years, but I think what we're sensing now is it's becoming more and more relevant and applicable to what, our clients are doing and how they can help achieve an even further engineering and design perspective in different applications through this tokens methodology. So as you see on the top of the screen, manufacturing, right? So there are over 20 capabilities in manufacturing. So for example, feature-based machining author would be one. Surfacing milling would be another, as an example. Cecil hit on this earlier, NXX, right? If you're looking to potentially make the transition to NX on the cloud, you can now do translation for CATIA V4, V5, as well as Creo. There's assembly path planning module with the tokens, as well as topology optimizer. Again, we're just giving you a glimpse of some of the different capabilities and operations that are at your disposal with the tokens pool. From a CAM standpoint, multi-axis deposition, 3D adaptive roughing, 5-axis deburring, again, examples of what you can accomplish with the token methodology. From a simulation standpoint, Nastran in the middle there, advanced fluid modeling, electronic systems cooling as well. And then Solid Edge, PMI, electronic routing, PCB collaboration. So if you look at the images on the bottom part of the screen here, wouldn't it be nice to not be confined and constricted with a blow-up pool where you can pivot to a resort type pool where you have the ability, the flexibility to move around to decide plug and play, what modules make the most sense, what add-ons make the most sense based on the foundation NX tool that you're running. So the possibilities are endless with the token application. So let me quickly go over an example of how this would work behind the scenes. So a customer of ours recently purchased floating 2.5 axis licenses, and they decided, hey, we're going to jump in. Let's try this token methodology. So they purchased 100 tokens. So user one at, I believe that's 9 a.m. in the morning, decided based on what they were working on today that they needed the feature-based machining authoring capabilities. So again, the system knows behind the scenes, okay, in order for you to run that application, it requires 22 tokens. So as you see on the bottom, right, the token pool goes from 100 to 78. That operator ran that token add-on module at 9 a.m. The other user who's running the same license on the server, right, because there's two of them, decided with whatever they were working on, oh, I need surface milling fixed access capabilities. So he ran that application that required 39 tokens. So as you can see at the bottom part of your screen here, the token pool went from 100 to 78 from user 1 to 39 after user 2 used the surface milling application. So let's briefly talk about sizing your token pool. So here are some things to consider, and I'm piggybacking again a lot of what Cecil said earlier, is how many number of users would need access to the pool? So things to think about. Also understanding daily use versus occasional use of the NX application. Tokens are best used when it's on occasion, not on a day-by-day basis. So if a user has an NX product and they're relying on that NX foundational product on a daily basis, it makes more sense to float it as opposed to purchasing tokens from a cost efficiency standpoint. When we then talk about token pools, how it can be cost effective. So there's a wide variety of applications that are now accessible to you through the value-based licensing application. So in general, if 4 or more add-ons are needed, tokens would be the attractive, cost-effective solution. Okay. Also suggested is mixed licenses, what Cecil talked a little bit about earlier, is the thought process or methodology behind part tokens, part floating add-on would give you the most flexibility at a very effective price point. And more importantly, we can help you size the pool of tokens needed based on your configuration to suit your needs moving forward. So I'm going to add on to what Cecil said earlier about commonly asked questions that we've been actually getting quite a bit lately. Obviously, the pricing model. So NX tokens are come in packs of 50 and 100. They're only offered from a subscription platform standpoint. The first value pack, as you jump into the token pool, is 100. So that's number one. Number two, the second question on the screen is, can I use the same tokens to run CAD, CAM, and SimCenter, aka simulation? I think Cecil did a great job explaining this. Today, the answer is no, but stay tuned as that may evolve and change down the road. A couple more commonly asked questions. So if you've purchased some add-on modules but now want to use tokens, can you mix and match? And the short answer of it is yes. You can absolutely mix tokens with purchase add-ons. So in this scenario, if a license is needed, the system behind the scenes will first determine, okay, is the checking out the purchase license, is that available first? If not, then the system knows, okay, the purchase license is already in use. The system will then look for tokens and check out the required set of tokens based on the application that you want to execute. The next question there is, if I'm running an earlier version of NX, can I use tokens? Unfortunately, the answer is no. So token licensing only works with version NX 1965 or higher. So that's a key indicator here. So you need to be running NX 1965 or higher in order to jump into the quote unquote token pool and going down that potential road. Can a user borrow a set of tokens to work offline? Unfortunately, the answer is no. You are unable to do so. Okay, we have come to the end before we get into live Q&A. So Cecil and I asked the question to you, now what? So here are some things to think about. What occasional NX add-on features would you use sparingly that would help within your design and engineering processes? As a reminder, the rule of thumb here is if 4 or more add-ons are needed, tokens can be the right cost-effective solution for you. From a cost saving standpoint, if you're looking to pitch this to your executive team or your decision makers, you're reducing upfront costs, right? Because you're not having to purchase that add-on license long term. You're now able to do it through value packs, the token value pack. It also gives you a ton of flexibility because now you have the ability to use different applications based on what you're working on that day, week, or month. As it relates to the token value pack offerings, they come in 25, 50, or 100 packs. That has changed a little bit as they work to, make it easier for you to purchase the right amount of tokens moving forward. That variance really also depends on the solution that you're using, right? Whether it's NX or SimCenter or something else. Maybe it's an X solution. Okay, let's take a step back here. So having said that, Cecil, I'll bring you back on. Let's see what kind of questions came in through our chat.
Well, I have answered. Steve came up with two really good questions.
Can you replay it? Yeah, with everybody, just so that they have clarity on this.
Yep, absolutely. So, Steve brought up two really good questions. He said, "Can you explain why there are CAD tokens and CAM tokens?" Well, let's just be very straightforward on this. NXCAD is a separate program from NXCAM. Yes, they do have the same interface, and yes, you can add CAM onto your license, and you don't have to exit your CAD package in order to do your CAM, but yet they are sold separately. So with that said, the tokens currently right now are separate in between those. So we can't, like Chris said, stay tuned. Stay tuned. Okay. All right. So the next question, Steve asked, well, NX Viewer, how is that dealt with? How do you keep things like a commonly used feature inside both CAD and CAM, such as the NX Viewer? How do you separate the way that if you were to purchase tokens in two different packages, how do you keep them separate? The options file. Many people don't know that FlexLM licensing has the capability of using an options file. And if you've ever had people take a license and they really shouldn't be taking that license or what have you, you should really, come to us and let us help you work through that solution. We can do things like either through support or through some consultation. We can help you to create an options file that helps your license consumption work lean. With that said, there's another good point that we did not say. Because tokens are based upon a subscription-based consumption, it is actually counted differently than a purchased piece of software when you come down to taxes and accounting. So when your purchaser has a choice between purchasing a piece of software, they would much rather use a subscription than they would a purchased actual product because it's written off differently. And we do have customers that use tokens as if it were a floating license pool. So in other words, they have their base products, but they use the token pool as if, this is the way that all their work group uses piping or uses whichever complex add-on within your design solution. So it can either be used on demand or it can be used in a regular basis.
Food for thought. And those are actually really good points. Cecil, did you notice any other questions that came in? Steve, those are actually very, very job well done. I mean, those are point spot on questions, and those are the types of questions that we want to help you better understand, right? So you can kind of work to better understand this token platform, right? Because it is a new arena, but we are finding more and more that it is becoming more and more cost effective, whether you're a smaller outfit or an enterprise size outfit, right? There are capabilities where we can help you reduce costs and speed up your processes on whatever you're working on, whether it's design, analysis, or engineering.
Right. And right now, those are the only two questions that were submitted.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm actually looking at it as well. Thank you, Cecil. I don't see any other questions. Does anyone else have a question? Just go ahead and we'll Cecil and I'll stick around one more minute here, and we'll be happy to give you back 30 minutes of your time. But this is, I can assure you, this is an exciting venture we're going on with you. It's a great opportunity to really elevate what you're doing and how you're doing it in a really cost-effective manner. The scalability and flexibility is impressive. We've seen quite a few clients leverage the power in knowing that they can now use applications that they just didn't think were possible in the past because, Cecil, of the old licensing model, right? Where it's like, well, you either buy it or you don't, right? But now there's a lot of advantages to the token model.
Right. And I would like to state to the group,
Yep.
We have observed throughout the years, many of our customers have extremely talented engineers. And it's unique to our industry and it's very, very much so within the Siemens software consumer groups, that the engineers are not just CAD drafters. They're not just mechanical engineers.
Yep.
You guys are so much more. And whenever you don't have the tools that meet your multi-talented expertises, it gets to be frustrating. So this is a great tool to get you out of that box.
Well, on that note, Cecil, we appreciate your time. We thank everyone for joining us. We are going to have a part 2 to this because we are seeing more and more the interest and intrigue around the tokens, and we will do our damnedest to educate you and give you the right information you need to make the best decision for you and your company. So having said that, this is being recorded. We will send a follow-up with the recording and the handout that I promised you earlier. We appreciate your time, and our contact information is at the bottom of your screen there. Feel free to ask questions after the fact, and we're happy to entertain a tokens discussion moving forward.